Welcome back to Gettable's Draft Night Countdown, brought to you by Google. I'm Riley Beveridge, and I'm joined by my favourite Kall in the footy industry. Kall Toomey's here as well.
Hey, he's been working on that one. Well done. Hey, that nearly makes up for last year. Remember last year when you were on the desk?
Well, I call myself Kall, didn't I? Yeah. Kall Burns, Gold Coast National Recruiting Boss, is with us. Kall, thanks for coming on Gettable.
Thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me, boys. Good to be here.
You had a big smile looking at that. Jed Walters, a pretty good player, and he's coming to the Suns. Tell us about Jed's journey to the footy club.
Yeah, it's one that, we've had him in the academy since a very young age, 12 years of age. So real credit to the development program on the Gold Coast, and that's the local football clubs as well as our academy. Sensational.
We'll get through the bids in a second, but he's one of four that are probably going to go on the first night alongside Ethan Reid, Jake Rogers and Will Graham. What's it mean on an overall sort of landscape in terms of what this footy club has done and built over recent years to get four at once like this?
Yeah, well, as I just mentioned, it's a credit to everybody that's been involved in the process. Football in Queensland in both the men's and the women's programs growing and growing significantly, and that's due to the work of all the people on the ground that get the talent to this point. So, look, we're really proud of the boys, but also really proud of the structure that's happening in Queensland football at the moment.
How many calculators have you burned through over the last 2 months trying to amass the points and find out if you got...
Yeah.
Well, he's calculating. Microsoft Excel's got a fair workout this year and continuing to do so.
Yeah, okay. Talk to us about the trade period coming into it, because you obviously started with pick 4, you turned that into a couple of future first rounders next year, but then the suite of selections later in the draft that are going to help you match these bids on these 4 players. Talk to us about the planning, how much went into it, and then the execution throughout the trade period.
Yeah, I guess the planning you can take right back to 3 years ago when we knew this was going to be a special crop coming through, and we started to push picks forward into the drafts knowing that, look, we'd need a fair few points going into 2023. So the planning's been happening from a long way out, and then it obviously starts to ramp up and the strategy gets quite sound leading into this year's trade period. So we watched closely what Western Bulldogs did with Darcy a couple of years ago, and then watched clearly what Brisbane did last year with Ashcroft. And I guess they showed the way on what you can do, and we wanted to really maximise the opportunity that brought.
And both of those clubs actually made trades at the start of their respective drafts. Will you do the same again with some selections in the second round because there's interest in them?
Yeah, there is interest, and I think that would be a smart strategy, is that still allow room for you to move, to expand and create a few more points for yourself leading into the night. Sorry, not leading into the night, but at the commencement of the night.
Where do you expect the bid to come for Jed? Have you got a read on it at the moment? I mean, we all think he's a top 3 talent. Probably that pick 2 or 3 looks around the right mark from a North point of view, from an outsider's point of view. What's your sense? Yeah,
we sort of leave that to you guys to predict whether bids might come. And, I mean, it's effectively what other clubs have on their draft board. So, look, we need to be slightly reactive to that, but also well planned on where they may come.
Ethan Reid, the next one I want to ask you about. I mean, we saw what he was able to do throughout the year playing in ruck and across half back, and then at the combine when he ran that incredible 2K time trial time. Talk to us about his development and what you've seen through him from the last 12 months.
Yeah, again, another one that's developed beautifully through our program and also through community football in Queensland. Ethan, we've always known, has been a really strong runner. He spent a little bit of time with us over pre-season, and we got a first look at that of just how well he does in the endurance side of the game. And then the coaching that he's been gifted through the academy and his ability to understand and take in the game plans and then execute that throughout the season has been very impressive.
And next up, Jake Rogers. I mean, his clearance work, and I think we saw it that day up in Queensland when they welcomed Vic Metro for the Allies team in the national champs. But his clearance work is reminiscent of guys like Tuke Miller who've had at the football club before. How have you seen his development this year, and what type of role can he play at the next level?
Yeah, again, another one that should be really proud of himself and what he's achieved in his draft year. We won't put any ceiling on him, but also won't put any pressure on Jake. He's nursing a little bit of an injury at the moment, so first and foremost, we'd like him to get his body right. But in terms of projection, I mean, clearly where he plays is up to Damien and the coaching staff, but his attributes allow him to play, you'd think, mid and forward.
Will Graham's been a bit of the fourth Beatle, but he does deserve some attention because his performances for the Allies mid-season were all class. He's a player that is coming down for draft night as well, somewhere around the top 25 to 30. Is that the expectation and part of your picks planning?
Yeah, certainly not the fourth Beatle in our eyes. We've always really respected Will and the way he's gone about it, and one that we've always planned for, hoping that potentially we're in the position to put him on our list. Will, he's had a really good season. He had a fair few interruptions in the last 2 years, so to get to where he's got to this year and perform the way he did, he should be incredibly proud of himself.
Ringo's still a good Beatle, by the way. They're all good Beatles. Personally a Paul fan, but, you can mix it up if you like. Tell us about Dimmer and how have you found him in the last couple of months since he officially took on the job?
Yeah, excellent. Clearly really exciting. I mean, he's a well-decorated coach. His AFL career's been sensational, and we're just so excited to have him on board. His engagement and his investment in our football club since day dot has been so significant, and we're just really excited to have him on board.
I think he was at the VFL Grand Final. He would have seen Leo Lombard perform pretty well as a player for next year.
16 years old in that Grand Final.
Incredible. What do you make of his performance? And he's obviously one on the radar again. We talk about the growth of the academy, and the under-16s group looks really strong as well that we saw this season. Tell us about Leo and your planning future-wise for him.
Yeah, again, of course, we've watched Leo for a number of years and continue to plan around the academy guys. I mean, they've still got their draft year to go, so there's still some water to go under the bridge. But what Leo's achieved in his 17th year has been quite extraordinary, and for him to have a significant role in the VFL Premiership was outstanding. And, I mean, he's just been recognised in the AFL Academy for next year, so, again, should be incredibly proud.
We were up in Gold Coast for the 16s. I saw you there and I interviewed you there for Gettable on that occasion. But I think we saw there the growth of football going forward in terms of the academies and how strong Gold Coast Academy looked throughout that carnival. You're about to welcome the 4 academy players this year. You've already got a number of academy players on your list already. How much have you seen this help the growth of the game up north? The players that are coming through from local football, are you seeing it become stronger in your own eyes?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And participation numbers credit that as well. I mean, that suggests that the game's growing rapidly in both the men's and the women's space. So, yeah, these guys are the cream of the crop and they're the talent that's on show, but it's all the stuff underneath that really makes it a strong and a really viable product.
I want to ask you about whether or not you see any of these 4 boys. I mean, I know you're not going to put a ceiling on them, but can they play senior footy next year, do you think?
Yeah, they should be aspiring to, absolutely. There's no reason they shouldn't be coming in, hitting the ground running, trying to force their way into the squad. And that's what makes football clubs strong, is that pressure from below and pressure to hold your spot. So, as I said, there's no expectation, but also no ceiling. If they can come in, then they should be afforded that opportunity.
Your first pick last year, didn't want to waste any time in getting into the senior team. Bailey Humphrey, who we got to know well on this show, he played 19 games and showed his class and strength and power. How exciting is he as a talent? And as you project again for year 2 for Bailey, what's it look like?
Yeah, as you said, really exciting and one that should be incredibly proud of the year he had for his first year in AFL football. Didn't have the most pure of pre-seasons either, so there were some interruptions there, but still managed to play those games and play really well and earn himself a Rising Star nomination, and then really significantly extended his contract to 2028. So, yeah, really excited for what Bailey can produce.
He's got the romper stomper haircut at the minute.
He does.
Yeah.
And he's got the tats as well. He's starting to get tattooed. He's going to look at a very scary prospect for next year.
He'll be straight arming everyone around. He's got that about him. I can't wait to see him play. And do you feel like he was one, and as we say, we got to know him, he was adamant that he was playing pretty early. And it was, if not for injury in the pre-season, he probably would have been there in round 1. Are you getting the sense when you get to know these kids come through that there's no time for patience anymore? Like, they see other players, their draft years, they see the players they play with a year ahead of them debut and make an impact early and think, why not me?
Yeah, and we encourage that. They should have that attitude. I mean, these guys are a competitive beast. That's why they get to where they get to in their life and in their early career. So, yeah, there's no way we want to shy away from that. As long as they come in and earn the respect of their teammates and the football club, then they should be pushing themselves up.
We reported this week that Aidan Bonner will be part of the train-on group as well at the Suns if he gets through next week's draft. Obviously, Jack Paris as well in that group. What's your plan in terms of the SSP?
Yeah, for those guys, we'll wait and see when we've still got the national draft and then the rookie draft to play out. So we'll see what list spots we have available. History suggests that, yeah, we do really like the SSP, particularly with Damien coming in his first year. We want to let him have the magnets settle and see where the magnets land, and then affording him potentially a few players to look at for SSP, maybe just fill some gaps.
I just asked Matt Clark a similar question, but in a different context. But knowing that you've got 4 academy players coming in this year, how much work do you invest into the remainder of the draft pool and into guys like Harley Reid and Nick Watson and Colby McKercher? Do you still invest the same amount of time there, knowing that you're still probably no chance of getting them now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we've invested the same amount of time as we normally would, which may sound crazy, but there is no time like a player's build up to their draft and their draft year to gather information. And effectively, as recruiters, that's what we are. We're information gatherers. So we've invested the same amount of time because you just don't know. In the future, now, come trade period, if you have a great battery of information on a player, you're a far better place to make the right decision. So we've certainly done that.
You've already got a T-shirt, which means...
It is rather large though, Kall.
We're only dealing larges and extras, which means, though, you're going to be on the Gettables board, which you see out the back here. Can ease just sign? We want you to sign this with a nice little message to us, and then you can pin it up on the board. So give that a second. I'll grab the Gettables board now. 1 second.
Are you going to read this out?
Yeah, if it's nice.
If it's nice. So Damien Hardwick as well, your new coach, was obviously at the Combine. How did you notice the players? Were they getting thrown by his presence in there?
Yeah, there's an element of the step back when they walk in the door when someone with such a presence is there, but he's such a warm and engaging guy that they get comfortable pretty quickly.
Like this nice autograph. Yeah,
it's very good.
We're building the wall.
Yes. We're going to have to get a bigger board for next year, Kall.
We're going to need a bigger board. You want to read it out?
You read it out.
To Gettable from the real Kall. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
Kall.
for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And good luck, obviously, on Monday and Tuesday night. And all the best with the new Academy boys you're about to welcome into your football club.
Thanks very much. Cheers.